So I got this comment, why two credit cards, one for bills and one for budget. So I kind of designed this sheet for, velocity banking, but really it could be used just as a bill tracker where you just enter your bills and you just track, you enter a bill here and you list out your bills and you just click yes, it was paid. At the end of the month, you reset it. It just makes sure that everything is paid every month. So why use two credit cards? I'm going to just make up some bills here and split it. Going into creating a budget is a whole video on itself. If anybody wants to see that, just let me know. But let me fill this out. So I just threw up some quick numbers here. Obviously not a full sheet, but let's say your budget credit card, $910 a month. The electric bill comes out to $440. Now in this example, let's say you have a income of $6,000, expenses is $5,100. You have $900 coming out. Now I don't just, this sheet is designed with basically building wealth. So it's getting out of debt. So there's a couple of reasons why you would use two credit cards. So first, let's say the Bill's credit card has a value of $1,500. Now, again, this is all about how well someone pays attention. Now, I've learned throughout my life that if you want something done, the easiest path is the best way. So like if you're an employer and you want things done a certain way, the easier you make it for employees, the better. If you're constantly doing things, and to some people, it's more important to do other things than to spend time on a budget or paying attention to their bills. It seems weird, but it happens a lot. So for this example, I'm going to move the credit card over to the one card, right over to the right side. So you have and granted this, again, there's a lot of different instances, but let's just say you're using a card that's pretty close to its max value. Like the total of your bills and budget could be pretty close to the value. Now, obviously, if people are in debt, they're going to choose two credit cards, so there's probably already a balance on it. So if your total budget and total bills come out to $1,350, first and foremost, we know that bills are not always the same. This electric bill could go up to $300. The water bill fluctuates. It could be less or it could be more. And the internet will probably say the same. But on your total credit, bills, it could fluctuate. Now, budget, a lot of different reasons. First and foremost, if it's on its own card, like let's just say it's over here, then once you have your bills paid, this Bill's credit card should actually, once you have the bills set on it, should be put away. You shouldn't even be carrying it around. It could be locked in a safe or whatever. The budget card you'll be carrying around. Now, we know that most people are not going to spend $910 if that's what their budget came out to be. It'll be, in most cases, it's going to go over a little bit. So if you have your budget on a separate card, you can just look at the card and know right away how much you're already spending that month. If your budget is mixed in with the credit card, which it could be, but you would either have to go through and sort out to see how much of your budget spent. If you already spent, let's say, you spent the $80 on the internet or $80 on gas, if that is on your budget side. And then, let's say you go to Starbucks every morning, and I only threw that in there because, if you're trying to get out of debt, you're not really going to buy it. But let's say you spent $70 on Starbucks and you got, your budget, your water bill, your electric bill, all of your monthly expenses are going to be coming out at different dates and different times. So you would have to sort through that to see how much you got left in your budget. So it's just about being easier to have budgets separated. It's always good to have budgets separated. And the other reason you want budgets separated, if you look up here at the total, your income is $6,000. And let me put this budget back. This sheet was mainly designed to get out of debt and to start building wealth. So once you have everything itemized out, which if the budget was on the bills card, yes, you could itemize it out. But again, you're still trying to figure out how much do you have left in budget. So this is kind of it kind of tests you, right? Because if your budget is 910 and you have an income of 6,000 and your total expenses is 5,100, so that means your cash flow is $900. Now, if you had a debt that you were trying to get rid of, let's just say, $2,000, you can pretty much know that in 2 months you're going to have, or 2.5 months, you're going to have that paid off. Basically, let's just say 3 months. This is going to be paid off in 3 months. I got another comment. What is the difference between a bill and a budget? And, I wrote back then it was a tug of war between reaching your goals. And the reason I say that is, right, you're paying off debt. And let's just make this $50,000, right? You're paying off $50,000 worth of debt. And if this amount equaled, right, it equaled your cash flow. And let me just put a month right here. Okay, I moved the month field down here so it doesn't actually calculate in the value. But so your debt's 49,100. You change this to the second month, it's 48,200. Third month, 47. It's basically reducing your debt by whatever amount, per month. So what's the difference between budget, bills? Why have them separated? First and foremost, the ease of it so that you know exactly how much is your budget. You can just look at the credit card, see the balance. If there's a balance of 800, you have 110 left. If it's on a different credit card, then you got to sort through all of that. So another thing too is the difference between budget and bills, right? So your bills is set. Your bills aren't going to change. Your budget now, let's say you go over your budget, right? So that first month, right, we're at 1 month, we reduce the debt by $900, which is your cash flow. Now, if you just wanted extra Starbucks and you put an extra, let's say you got an extra couple cups, this went up to $120, and then you got bored, right? Out of boredom, you just went to the mall and spent, another $100. So basically, this total 1,040 now reduces the cash flow from 900 to 770, which reduces the amount of debt, which would have been 48,100, is now 49,230, or whatever that amount was. So it's going to take you longer to reach your goals. That's why I say it's a tug of war. It's a tug of war reaching your goals, because this boredom is doing a tug of war with your goals. So again, it's flexible. You can have your budget in with one card. You can have just one card. But basically, your cash flow, which is what you get after all of your bills are paid, and your budget is only changed by not counting the way the electric bill may be less, more or less, but it's really controlled by the budget. If you go over your budget, something happens, it reduces your cash flow, reducing the amount of time it takes you to get out of debt and the amount of time it's going to take you to build wealth. So I hope, this made sense. If you have any more questions, I'm not the greatest at illustrating things, but I hope that kind of makes sense. I mean, again, it's to have 2 credit cards is so that you can control your budget and pay attention, because it's this budget amount. Because technically on this budget, you got $770. You could technically just spend all of that, have all your bills paid, for the month. Your debt just stays the same. It's actually going to go up because there's going to be interest on credit cards and stuff. But this is your controller. I mean, this card is what controls your wealth, or your being able to create wealth. If it's mixed in over here, it's just gonna, you could do it, but it's just gonna be confusing, and it's gonna be easy to go over your budget, or you can end up making that card go over, over the credit limit, depending on how close you are to it. So budget to me is discipline. I hate budget first and foremost. This is only needed to eventually, once you start creating wealth, there's no budget, right? Because budget is, this is just temporary. It's what is necessary to get to the point of building wealth. If you're already in the point of building wealth, you don't really, it just depends on the person. You don't really need a budget. All that budget's going to do, Right now, this budget is affecting your debt. Once you get to the point where you're building wealth, you no longer have a budget, but the budget will affect how quickly or how much wealth you build. It flips the game. So again, if you have any other questions, just let me know and I'll try to answer them.